PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Kelly. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where we break down every single game of the 2024-2025 season, we are going to be breaking down the most recent matchup involving your Vegas Golden Knights. And this is going to be another road matchup. And considering what we've seen in the 3 road games previously, there is going to be a lot to go over and discuss. There is a few positives, but my, oh my, there are some negatives we do have to go over on this episode of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap. Now, if you have a second, go to www.prconnectionsradio.com. Check out over a dozen shows we have on the platform. Go to our social media pages at Vegas Hockey Hub or follow your host down below at Ian J. Kelly. So, before we break down what this game was, all right, how we got to this point in time, what we're going to get into with the starting lineup, when we're going to focus on a very important aspect because this was brought up on the telecast multiple times. So let's just talk about it now. Where, yes, Brendan Brisson, hometown game, the Los Angeles, California native, he played against the LA Kings out there at the Staples Center. And kind of interesting to have Brendan Brisson in the starting lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights back there on the fourth line. Now, we'll go over the roster moves in just a split second, but who it's interesting to your host, Ian Kelly, is how Brendan Brisson playing at home. They showed pictures of him, being at the Stanley Cup parade with Anze Kopitar when the Kings won back in 2012. Some people do know about the connection that he has to the NHL, why his dad, Pat Brisson, he is a very well-acclaimed NHL agent. So for Brendan Brisson, hometown game against the LA Kings, good for him. And it was pretty solid that he was in the lineup because how it was done, Nicholas Hague is still out for your Vegas Golden Knights. After suffering that injury 2 games ago, Nicholas Hague is still out for your Vegas Golden Knights. He is not in the lineup. He is not going to be with the Golden Knights. Now, he is still listed as day-to-day, so we'll have to wait and see if he plays in the next game or the game after. But for Nicholas Hague, he is still out. And then the swap of Brendan Brisson and Cole Schwindt on the fourth line. What this could have been is that Cole Schwindt took a hit up high from Kevin Ball against the game against Calgary. Could be the reason why he's not in the lineup, or it simply could be the hometown feel. Cole Schwindt played against his former team in Calgary. Brendan Brisson, now he's playing against his hometown team in the LA Kings. The starting lineup for your Vegas Golden Knights, Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and Mark Stone on line 1. The most productive first line in all of hockey. I mean, if you want to make an argument for Colorado's first line, when I will try to have you make that argument, but where we stand here on Vegas Hockey Hub is Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and Mark Stone. Who we have on line 2, Brett Howden, Pavel Dorofeyev, and Tomas Hertl down the middle. And this second line, why? It's been so fascinating. The first couple of games, it looked like they were kind of like in a rough patch when it was Dorofeyev, Hertl, and Holtz. And because they have switched some stuff around, Brett Howden being on the second line, that second line has now become a beneficial part. Brett Howden, multiple goals on the year. Tomas Hertl, multiple goals on the year. Pavel Dorofeyev, who, by the way, has been performing and progressing at a solid level. On line 3, ever since he came back, they have kept this line the same. William Karlsson, Tanner Pearson, and Alexander Holtz. And line 4, Keegan Kolesar, Nicholas Waugh, and the hometown boy, Brendan Brisson. Now, defensive pairings, these are the same from the previous game against Calgary as Noah Hanifin and Alex Pietrangelo on pairing 1. Nicholas Hague is not in the lineup, so Caden Korzak and Braden McNabb. And then you have Shea Theodore and Zach Whitecloud for your Vegas Golden Knights. And then in net is Ilya Samsonov, and we're going to talk about the game he had in this matchup really soon. But why Ilya Samsonov back in net after Aiden Hill's shutout against Calgary a few days ago. So kicking off this game against the LA Kings, and this matchup right here, right now, it started out with a bang. And for the first time this season for your Vegas Golden Knights, let's get ready to rumble, as Keegan Kolesar would have the first fight on the season for the Vegas Golden Knights. He would drop the gloves with Andreas England. And for Kolesar, first fight of the year, will not be the last fight of the year. I will not be shocked if Kolesar gets more fights throughout the year. But yeah, it took 11 games for the Vegas Golden Knights to register fight number 1 on the year. So for Kolesar, doing what he did, starting out the game, putting it on a high note, trying to build some momentum for the Golden Knights 5 minutes into the game. But Keegan Kolesar, first fight of the game. And then, after that fight, the momentum that could have been up here for the Golden Knights cratered immediately after. Because immediately after this, the Vegas Golden Knights didn't just let up 1 goal, didn't just let up 2 goals, didn't just let up 3 goals, but they let up 4 goals in a span of about 15 minutes. Warren Foegele, with his 4th goal of the season, put the LA Kings up by 1. Adrian Kemp put up his 4th goal of the season to put them up by 2 with an assist from Anze Kopitar. And then a little bit later, Alex Laferriere with his 6th goal of the season for the LA Kings, assisted by Quentin Byfield, put them up at a 3-0 advantage. And then about 45 seconds after Laferriere goal, Anze Kopitar with his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Brandt Clark, and that would make it a 4-0 game. So in the span of 15 minutes, your Vegas Golden Knights went from being 0-0 to being 4-0. I could sit here and blame the defense. I mean, especially that one goal where Adrian Kemp was literally just standing there. The puck went off of Kopitar, passed it over, and Kemp was just sitting there just like, oh, thank you. Like, it was a very easy goal by him. You could talk about the Warren Foegele goal, where the goal went literally went off of Samsonov's stick. Foegele shot it in between Samsonov's skates and went in for the net. That goal was absolutely on Samsonov. Samsonov did not have to do the play that he did. He left himself exposed, and Warren Foegele just shot it right past him and scored the first goal of the game. The Kemp goal, the defense was out of alignment, and he just shot it past Samsonov in pretty much an empty net to get the second goal of the game. Laferriere, I mean, that was essentially a tic-tac-toe play. Anderson, Byfield, Laferriere. And then with Anze Kopitar, with his smarts, he helped out the LA Kings in that situation there. But very poor 15 minutes of play for your Vegas Golden Knights to be at a 4-0 deficit. How disappointing for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, a former LA King would get the Golden Knights on the board for the first time in this game, as you would have Tanner Pearson get his 3rd goal of the season. The third line would contribute. You had Alexander Holtz and William Karlsson with the assist, but Tanner Pearson getting a goal against the team that drafted him in the first round all those years ago. And then at the end of the second period, you would have a second altercation. As about 2 minutes left in the second period, Tomas Hertl skating into the neutral zone, has his head down. Mikey Anderson hits him up high, could be shoulder, could be elbow. It's kind of hard to tell, but he hits Hertl up high. Hertl's in pain. He tries skating to the bench. And as Mikey Anderson is skating to LA's bench, Brett Howden immediately goes after Mikey Anderson. He gets a 2-minute penalty for roughing, and Mikey Anderson gets a 2-minute penalty for roughing. But I will sit here and say I appreciate Brett Howden for immediately stepping up and going after Mikey Anderson after Hertl gets hit. That's a team player That shows you that you're going to defend your teammates. And it's another reason why Brett Howden has arguably been the most underrated player on the season for the Vegas Golden Knights. It's commendable what he did when he went after Mikey Anderson after that hit on Hurdle. Now, I kind of wish that the linesmen, wouldn't have got involved. Where I kind of get annoyed at this, and this has actually been one of my critiques about the NHL over the last couple of years, if there is a guy who wants to fight somebody else, let him fight. All right? Who are you stopping this for? Like, are you stopping this because the NHL wants you to stop it? Are you stopping it because of the Department of Player Safety? Are you stopping it because of the odds makers and the bettors out there in Las Vegas? Like, why do you stop fights that are so blatantly going to happen? So when it comes to Brett Howden and Mikey Anderson, when Brett Howden jumps on him and essentially trying to retaliate, I didn't understand why they didn't just let Anderson and Howden fight. Like, the linesman stepped in like 1.5 seconds into it. Kind of annoying. But Brett Howden, you have to appreciate what he did there when it comes to Tomas Hurdle and stepping up in that situation. So at the end of the second period, you had a LA Kings team that had 4 goals on the board. The Vegas Golden Knights, who had 1 goal on the board. You had 1 fight, 1 altercation that should have been a fight. And then at the end of the second intermission, I want to point this out because it did happen. For any baseball fans out there in the world, congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers on winning the World Series. Congratulations. Woohoo. The LA Kings had the 9th inning on the Titantron during the Staples Center. So as the Zambonis are going around the rink and there's, during intermission, funny enough, at the Staples Center, you had the 9th inning between the Dodgers and the Yankees. And when the Yankees players struck out and the Dodgers were celebrating on the field, the entire crowd roared in excitement at the Staples Center in LA. So, yeah, congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers on winning the World Series. Not an NHL part of it, but it is part of sports, and it did happen in LA. So just wanted to give a very quick minute and congratulate them on that. In the third period, I do want to acknowledge Pavel Dorofeyev because he had not only his 5th goal of the season, but he did it on the power play, assisted by Shea Theodore and your captain, Mark Stone, 14th assist of the year for your captain, Mark Stone. But overall, when it comes to Pavel Dorofeyev, he has shown a lot of positive impact on the Vegas Golden Knights. How Pavel Dorofeyev went from a prospect 2 years ago to now being a full-fledged member of the Vegas Golden Knights. What a showmanship and what an outing that we have seen from Pavel Dorofeyev the first 11 games of the year. And even though Pavel Dorofeyev scored that power play goal, it wasn't enough for the Vegas Golden Knights, as the Vegas Golden Knights would start out the third period with a slashing penalty on Brett Howden. So the only critique that people have had about Brett Howden, very similar to Paul Cotter last year, is that if you take unnecessary penalties, it opens up the power play unit for the opposite team. Brett Howden takes a slashing penalty against Philip Deneau, and then Kevin Fiala with a power play goal with LA, and that put them up 5-2 in the game. And then about 2 minutes later, Joel Edmondson, the longtime defenseman in the NHL, with his 3rd goal of the season. Brant Clark with his 3rd assist of the game, and it would make it a 6-2 game for the LA Kings. I mean, at that point, you're up 6-2. I think most people turned off the TV at this point. They were over the game. They were done. But an interesting observation. When you have allowed 6 goals, they didn't pull Ilya Samsonov. Where you normally see a goalie swap after goal 5. All right? Who you normally see a goaltender swap after goal 6. The Vegas Golden Knights did not do that here. Now, why? It's an interesting observation, and we're probably going to have an answer as to why. But how observant the fact that Ilya Samsonov was just left in net. We did not see a goalie swap, even though he let up 6 goals in this game. And you can say here and say that he had a really bad outing against the LA Kings. I will not dispute you on that. This was probably one of the worst performances we have seen from the Golden Knights this season in terms of goaltending. So, yeah, 21 saves on 27 shots. That is a 78% save percentage for Ilya Samsonov. Now, Darcy Kemper only had an 88% save percentage against the Vegas Golden Knights. So both teams didn't do fantastic in the goaltending column, but the LA Kings did hold on to win. Now, there was a final goal with about 2 minutes left in the game. And this goal with 2 minutes left was done by Pavel Dorofeyev. So Pavel Dorofeyev scores a power play goal to, in the third period to put them at a 6-2 situation. And then you have another goal from Pavel Dorofeyev, a 2-goal night for Pavel Dorofeyev, and that makes it a two-goal night for Pavel Dorofeyev. So even though the Vegas Golden Knights did not win in this situation, their current win-loss record is 7-3-1. The second line was a positive in this game. Not only for Brett Howden defending Tomas Hertl, not only did Pavel Dorofeyev have a 2-goal night for the Vegas Golden Knights, but more importantly, you had this line that was consistently putting the puck in play. You saw that Dorofeyev had 2 goals, but Tomas Hertl had an assist. You also had Caden Korzak and Braden McNabb. They had a well night on the defensive column. So overall, when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the LA Kings, it's not many positives here, but that second line is a bonus. I think Pavel Dorofeyev is a key part of the Golden Knights and actually one of the main reasons they even stayed in the game at the end of the third period. So overall, when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, player of the game, I'm going to be giving it to Alexander Holtz. Alexander Holtz in this game did impress me with his amount of shifts. In just 12 minutes of ice time, this is a guy who not only had an assist in this game, he had 2 well-respected shots that just did not go in, and he also had some hits in the game, and he only had about 16 shifts to make all of this happen. So overall, Alexander Holtz would be player of the game against the LA Kings. He did a really impressive job. One of the notable players I would mention for this game against LA. And since we have about 2 minutes left here, when it comes to your Vegas Golden Knights, what's next for Vegas? Well, at the end of the week, they come back home. You're going to be at T-Mobile Arena. Try to extend your record to 8-0-0 against the Utah Hockey Club. And then after that, you are going to have arguably one of the most impressive road stands you're going to have. Because this road stand for the Vegas Golden Knights, you're going to be on the road for so much of the next month. You're going to take on Edmonton on the road, Seattle on the road, Anaheim on the road, Utah on the road. Then you're going to go on what they call the Canadian road trip, Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. And then you're going to end that with Philadelphia on the road and Colorado on the road. So let me understand this. You're going to be on the road for 9 of the next 11 games. So for the rest of November, you're going to be on the road for 9 of the 11 games that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be on there. So, for the Vegas Golden Knights, it's just going to be really interesting to see how they perform on the road. Right now, they are 0-3-1 on the road. Obviously, if you keep up that trend, you're not going to be a playoff team. All right, if you continue to lose every single road game that you face, it doesn't matter if you go 41-0 at home. Not possible, by the way. But if you even went 35-6 at home, that's not enough points for you to be a playoff team. You have to win at least a little bit on the road. And so far, the Vegas Golden Knights 0-3-1 on the road has not been great. So until the next time against Utah Hockey Club on Saturday, we'll record that on Sunday. So until next time, go Knights, go.